What happens when women once reduced to stone, coin, and a few fading letters finally look back at us? Welcome to History Reborn AI. History remembers them as poets, queens, athletes, and symbols of beauty. But behind that glory lie political marriages, murdered children, cruel slander, and centuries of silence. Today we bring back 20 real women of the ancient Greek world, reconstructed from statues, reliefs, ancient coins, and archaeological remains. The final face on this list still divides historians to this day. If these lost eyes stir something in you, take a moment to share this story and follow along for more. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy the video. Number 20. Ampharete. A grandmother sits with a child resting in her lap, carved forever in cold marble. This is Athens, near the end of the 5th century before Christ, in the shadow of the Peloponnesian War. Her name survives because it was cut directly into the stone above her, beside the name of the child she holds. The pose looks tender, almost playful, the kind of scene any family might treasure. But the inscription reveals a colder truth. Both grandmother and grandchild were already dead when this stone was carved, their cause of death lost to time. What looks like love was really a reunion made possible only by death. She still holds the child. Sunlight no longer reaches them. Number 19. Myrrhine. A woman walks toward the underworld, led gently by the god Hermes himself. This is Athens, late in the 5th century before Christ, a city that prized both piety and reputation. A grave stele bearing the name Myrrhine has been linked to the first priestess chosen to serve Athena, Nike, though connecting the carved woman to that priestess demands caution. The public image is glowing. A woman selected by her city to serve the goddess of victory. The colder truth is silence. Athens preserved her title, but almost nothing of her private thoughts or daily life survived beside it. She was granted a sacred position in public. Then history let the woman behind it disappear. Number 18. Hegeso. A woman reaches for a piece of jewelry, calm and composed, her hand caught mid-motion in marble. This is Athens, near the final years of the 5th century before Christ. Her name, Hegeso, daughter of Proxenos, is carved beside her on an elegant funerary stele, her pose, robes, and hair rendered with aristocratic precision. The public remembers a graceful noblewoman selecting an ornament from a servant's box. The colder truth is what the image leaves out. It says nothing of how she died. And the servant beside her, close enough to touch, was never given a name. One woman is remembered for her wealth. The other was erased before she was ever recorded. Number 17. Phrasikleia. A young girl smiles, forever frozen at the edge of womanhood, a lotus bud closed tightly in her hand. This is Attica, around the middle of the 6th century before Christ, the age of archaic Greece. Her funerary statue survives almost intact, signed by the sculptor Aristian of Paros, her name carved beneath her feet. The inscription explains the tragedy. The gods decided she would forever be called a maiden, in place of marriage. She likely died before her wedding day, her future sealed shut, like the bud in her hand. The statue grants her eternal youth, an eternity that exists only because she never grew old. Her smile endures. Her life never truly began. Number 16. Corinna. A poet's stone face has survived for over 2,000 years, though almost none of her poetry has. She came from Boeotia, though scholars still argue whether she lived in the 5th century before Christ or centuries later. A statue bearing her name exists today, possibly a Roman copy of an older Greek original, though its age and accuracy remain uncertain. Ancient tradition placed her alongside the poet Pindar, sometimes even as his rival. The colder truth is fragmentation. Ancient writers credited her with 5 books of verse. Only scattered fragments remain. Even the century she lived in has never been fully agreed upon. The statue preserved a poet's face. Time took almost all of her voice. Number 15. Cynisca. A chariot crosses the finish line at Olympia, and for the first time, a woman's name is called as the winner. She was Cynisca, Princess of Sparta, of the royal Agiad line, victorious around 440 years before Christ. Her original statue is lost, but an inscribed base and the writings of Pausanias preserve her chariot, status, and place in history. The public remembers her as the first woman to win at the ancient games. The colder truth is that Cynisca never rode the chariot herself. She won as an owner and breeder of horses in a system that still barred most women from competing directly. She broke a barrier. The track stayed closed behind her. Number 14. Phryne. A courtesan stands before an Athenian court, and her beauty alone is said to save her life. She lived in the middle of the 4th century before Christ, born in Thespiae, active in Athens, linked by tradition to the sculptor Praxiteles and his statue of Aphrodite, though no confirmed portrait of her true face survives. The public remembers a woman whose loveliness convinced a jury to acquit her. The colder truth is murkier. The famous story of her defender bearing her body before the judges may be a later embellishment. History preserved her body far more carefully than her words. They never kept what Phryne said in that courtroom. They only kept the story of her body. Number 13. Artemisia II. A grieving widow builds one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world for the husband she has lost. She was Artemisia II of Caria, ruling from Halicarnassus around the middle of the 4th century before Christ. A colossal female statue from the mausoleum, long called Artemisia, along with reliefs from the monument, offers a foundation for reconstruction, though her identification remains unconfirmed. The public remembers a widow's monument to eternal love. The colder truth involves a throne held in a world thick with rivals and conspiracy. Legend claims she mixed her husband's ashes into her drink, a detail that cannot be verified. She seized power after his death, yet her legacy carries his name, the Mausoleum. Number 12. Berenice I. A royal bride arrives in the retinue of another woman's wedding and somehow becomes queen herself. This was Berenice I, stepping into the founding court of Ptolemaic Egypt around the turn of the 4th century before Christ. She appears on royal coinage and in marble portraits identified with her likeness, beside Ptolemy I as deified ancestors of a new dynasty. The public remembers the wife of a dynasty's founder. The colder truth is quieter. Most of her private life was folded into the role of sacred wife and mother. Did she build her own power or simply survive political marriages? She was lifted into godhood. In that instant, the woman named Berenice began to vanish. Number 11. Amastris. A Persian princess survives the collapse of an empire, then reinvents herself as a Greek queen. Amastris ruled at Heraclea Pontica from roughly 340 to 284 before Christ, one of the earliest women to strike coins bearing her own name and title, though the female head on those coins may represent a goddess rather than her true face. The public remembers a survivor who rose from a fallen empire into royalty. The colder truth is brutal. Ancient sources claim Amastris was passed through marriages to rival generals after Alexander's death, and finally murdered by her own 2 sons. She escaped being treated as property. Power could not protect her from her own bloodline. Number 10. Aspasia. A woman of extraordinary intelligence, sits at the center of Athens' most brilliant minds, though she was never permitted to call herself Athenian. Aspasia of Miletus lived through much of the 5th century before Christ, remembered as the companion of Pericles and a presence among the city's philosophers. A marble herm inscribed with her name is believed to copy an older portrait, its likeness unconfirmed. The public remembers a woman of wit and influence. The colder truth is slander. Comic playwrights mocked her as a prostitute or brothel keeper, and whether that held any truth remains debated, yet it shaped her image for centuries. She could shape a city's thinking. She could not write her own reputation. Number 9. Dynamis. A bronze face gazes out from the edge of the ancient world, ruling where Greek and Persian bloodlines meet the Black Sea. This was Dynamis of the Bosporan Kingdom, reigning from around 67 before Christ into the early years after Christ. A bronze bust, often identified as Dynamis, alongside coinage bearing her royal image, offers material for her return, though the identification remains debated. The public remembers a queen ruling at antiquity's far edge. The colder truth is dependency. To keep her throne, Dynamis adapted again and again to shifting husbands and Rome's rising power. The title Friend of Rome was both shield and chain. The hand that placed her crown belonged to Rome. Number 8. Cleopatra Selene II. A little girl is paraded through Rome as a trophy of war, marched behind the chariot of the man who destroyed her family. She was Cleopatra Selene II, the only surviving daughter of Cleopatra VII and Mark Antony, born in 40 before Christ. She appears on coinage bearing her own name and titles, and several marble portraits have been proposed as her likeness, though the date of her death and some identifications remain unsettled. The public remembers a daughter who survived to become a queen. The colder truth is exile inside the household of her family's destroyers. Rome turned her into a trophy. She answered by building a kingdom that carried Alexandria's memory forward. Number 7. Arsinoe III. A queen stands before her own soldiers on the battlefield, and her presence alone is said to turn the tide of war. Arsinoe III ruled Ptolemaic Egypt from around 246 to 204 before Christ. Her portrait survives on gold coinage, and several bronze and stone heads have been linked to her, though some identifications remain hypothesis, not certainty. The public remembers a queen who rallied her army at the Battle of Raphia against the Seleucids. The colder truth waited inside her own palace. After her husband's death, Arsinoe was murdered in a conspiracy to seize her son. She once stood before an army, She died behind the doors of her own palace. Number 6. Sappho. A poet sits beside the sea on the island of Lesbos, and her words will outlive nearly every empire built after her. Sappho lived roughly between 630 and 570 before Christ. She appears painted on ancient pottery, holding an instrument or scroll, and later Roman busts carry her name, though none were made from life. The public remembers the poet of love, longing, and private desire laid bare. The colder truth is loss. Most of her work has vanished, reduced to fragments and broken lines. The story that she leapt from a cliff for love is later legend, never confirmed fact. Time took her books. It could not silence her surviving lines. Number 5. Berenice II. A queen cuts a lock of her own hair and offers it to the gods, and poets later place that hair among the stars. Berenice II ruled Cyrene and Ptolemaic Egypt from around 267 to 221 before Christ. Detailed coin portraits capture her nose, her chin, her hairstyle, and her royal crown with remarkable precision. The public remembers a romantic legend, her sacrificed hair transformed into a constellation. The colder truth hides inside the palace walls. After her husband's death, Berenice was murdered in a struggle for power connected to her own son. Poetry lifted her hair into the heavens. The palace swallowed her body and her power whole. Number 4. Cleopatra Thea. A queen survives 3 husbands and finally seizes the Seleucid throne entirely for herself. Cleopatra Thea, born around 164 before Christ, was a Ptolemaic princess who became queen of the Seleucid Empire, her image shifting across coin after coin beside each king and son she outlived. The public remembers a queen who outlasted every marriage forced upon her. The colder truth, drawn from cautious ancient tradition, claims she ordered one son killed and later tried to poison another. That son, Antiochus VIII, is said to have forced his mother to drink from the cup she had poisoned for him. Motherhood collided with the throne. The final cup returned to her own lips. Number 3. Arsinoe II. A queen appears on golden coins as nearly the equal of any king, worshipped as a goddess, while still remembered as a mother and a widow. Arsinoe II lived from around 316 to 270 before Christ, ruling across Macedonia, Thrace, and Ptolemaic Egypt. Her likeness preserved in one of the richest visual records on this list, spanning coinage, cult statues, and temple reliefs. The public remembers a goddess queen beside her king. The colder truth is grief turned political. She endured a string of political marriages, watched 2 sons murdered amid one husband's collapse, then married her own brother, Ptolemy II, by royal tradition. That power never returned the children she lost. Number 2. Olympias. A mother gives birth to the man who will conquer the known world, then loses everything protecting his legacy. Olympias, princess of Epirus and queen of Macedonia, lived from around 375 to 316 before Christ, mother of Alexander the Great. A Roman-era gold medallion, made centuries after her death, is often read as her image, so any reconstruction stays guesswork. The public remembers an ambitious mother linked to serpents, mystic rites, and bloody purges. The colder truth, much of her fearsome reputation comes from rivals who outlived her. After Alexander died, she fought for his bloodline, was defeated, and executed, giving the world a conqueror she could not shield his family from. Number 1. Cleopatra VII. What did Cleopatra actually look like, and how did she really die? Cleopatra VII, last pharaoh of Ptolemaic Egypt, ruled from 69 to 30 before Christ. Unlike most women here, she left portraits struck in her own lifetime. Coins, a relief at Dendera, disputed busts, the coins her most reliable source. The public remembers a seductress who charmed Caesar and Antony, then died beside a venomous snake. The colder truth, a Macedonian Greek ruler who used diplomacy and religion to defend her kingdom against Rome. Her image shaped largely by Octavian's propaganda, her true death still unconfirmed. She chose her ending. The victors kept rewriting it anyway. The faces have returned, but the truth still rests between marble and silence. Remember these women not only as legends, but as people who once paid history's price.